I am Shawnte, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Next Level Conversations, presented by the Win-Win Women Network and Fight Girl Productions. Our mission is to provide you with empowering conversations that uplift, inspire, and encourage you on your path forward. I hope that this episode will be a source of information and inspiration, helping you gain new insights, overcome past traumas, and transform your life. Let's get into it. We are good night. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Next Level Conversations. I am Shawnte, your host, and I am excited because tonight is another episode of Girl Talk. And what Girl Talk is a form that we have created so that we can have conversation. It's based upon the scripture, the old teach the young. And we've created this form so that the younger women can ask questions and have an open and honest discussion or dialogue with a seasoned women to help them deal with the issues of everyday life. Tonight, I am excited because I am joined by Miss Kennedy Fleming, who is killing her role as mother, daughter, businesswoman, and woman all together. And so she is joining me on tonight for a little bit of Girl Talk. And we would like to invite you to this conversation. So welcome with me, Miss Kennedy Fleming. Hey, Kennedy.
Hi.
She's going to, I can tell already, you are going to act like you're shy, like you're nervous. She is not shy at all. So do not let her scare y'all. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first I want you to just kind of tell everybody just a little bit about you, about your life, what you're doing, just a little bit about you, and then we'll get into our conversation. I know that you have some questions for me. I have some questions for you. We have some questions from our audience, and our audience is going to be dropping additional questions into the chat. So it's going to be relaxing, but it's going to be good and open and honest conversation. So why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Kennedy. I am a 23-year-old mom. Oh, yeah, I'm a mom. I am a MA at the moment, a medical assistant. I don't know what else.
You have one brother, or you have two brothers.
I have two brothers and a sister. I'm the youngest, somewhat you can say. I'm experienced in culinary and now in the medical field, and I plan on going back to school. I just don't know what to go back to school for yet, but yeah.
Okay, so you're in the early stages of life because Kennedy just had a birthday.
Yes.
You are. How old are you?
I am 23.
Ain't she cute, y'all? Ain't she cute? Those are my genes. What can I say? Anyway, so let's talk. And I want to start my first question. You just said something that you're going to be going back to school. You're kind of in this transition place of your life right now. You just started a new career in the medical field, and you are just kind of in that exploratory age range.
Yes.
I say this often, and I say this to you often and to people often, I would not be in my 20s again to save my life. Couldn't nobody pay me because it was such a confusing time. As a 23-year-old, you've been out of high school for a while, you've gotten your first round of education. How are you adjusting from the transition from being in your mom's house, being supported by your mom, and doing everything as a young teenage adult to now being a young adult and in the work world, having to have the responsibility on you? How are you adjusting to that?
I'm adjusting pretty well, I would say. I did start my adult life pretty early, so I would say I'm adjusting now, but before then I wasn't adjusting well. Like, even though that I moved out of my mom's house pretty young, I would say I still wasn't adjusted to life. I wish I would have stayed in that position that I was at that age then. That makes sense. Because who I am now is not who I was when I moved out. And I wish that I would have been in that position that I am now than what I was in. So I'm now really just adjusting to life, you can say.
And I know you got some questions, so I'm gonna ask one more question, and
Okay.
then I'm a tag team over here.
Okay.
How does a parent get their teenage because you were, as you just said, you moved out sooner and you started your adult life quicker than you actually wanted to. And one of the things that your parent and your aunts were constantly telling you was continue to be a child, longer than you have to. You don't have to go and jump out into the world and grab all of these responsibilities. Enjoy these early years, but you did not want to do that. So my question is, how can a parent who has 16, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children right now, or even younger as they go up, how can they, I don't have any,
Yeah.
how can they help their children to kind of slow down before they take that step too quickly into adulthood, before they're ready?
How I would do it, how I am gonna do it, how I would tell somebody to separate your adult life from your kid's life. Like, don't show them what you're doing as an adult, and don't say certain things like, oh, well, you have to, like, this is an adult conversation, or you have to, you can't do this until you're an adult. Like, stick to that. Or don't say this is a child's place or this is an adult place. Stick to where, like, um, kind of show them, oh my gosh, like, kind of show them how you can do it, but they can also do it. So don't have them like rush into like, okay, I want to do this because they're doing this. Like, show them like, if I can wash dishes, then you can wash dishes. If I can go out and play, then you can go out and play. Basically, show them that they can do this now instead of waiting so they can do later. Like, when we were younger, we seen y'all have these conversations and y'all be like, oh, well, this is adult conversation, you can't have that. But then they be like, well, dang, I can't wait until I get older so I can have this type of conversation. See, I wish I would have never like seen that, because I would have stayed in the child's place and been like, I can't wait to grow up because I can't wait to have this type of conversation. So I would separate my life, my adult life that I keep to with my friends and my aunts, and then keep like my mom life with my boys, kind of.
Okay, so this is what I think I heard you're saying.
Okay.
Because I think I get what you're saying. What you're saying is, don't let your children see any of the adulting that you do. Let
Yes.
them only experience the mothering and the things that you do with them in that mother role. So they're not trying to quickly
Yes.
get up to, I want to be up there with her and do the things that she's doing.
Yes, that exactly. You explained it so well.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's going to be challenging, but that's what
It
you plan
is.
to do with your boys.
Yes, I struggle with it now because I am a young mom, so I'm not still in that mature stage, but I still tend to like be on my phone and then talk around my boys about certain things that I talk to my best friend about, and then they're around and he'd be like, well, I want to do that too, but at the same time, it's like, this is like, you're like, I have to basically like cut off what I'm doing and then just keep showing them, this is what you do when I'm around you. This is how we're supposed to keep it, and then keep the conversation privately with other people that I have. Like, it's like a split in between where you have to show them what you want to show them, and then don't show them what you want to do as an adult life.
Basically have literally two different worlds.
Yes.
And you're having two different worlds in your life. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's hard.
I imagine.
Yeah, because when you live around your kids, it's just like they're like in your skin. So it's hard, but you're gonna get to a point where you be able to adjust to like being a mom and then also being a 23-year-old, a young adult. So yeah, it's a balance that you have to balance out. But yeah.
So what would you say to a mother who has a daughter that's 13, 14, 15? They've already been doing, they've already started saying this is a, get out of this adult conversation, and they see their mom going out and different things like that. How, if you were in that space and you remember when you was in that, at that age range, what advice or what would you say to a mom now to help them kind of help their young kids in this space right now?
I would say spend a lot of more time with them personally. Like, give them that time where they go out with each other, with them two. Like, have them experience outside life with them instead of just seeing their parents do something like that. Spend personal connections with them so they won't feel like I have to do what my mother does, or I want to do this when I get older and want to rush into it. Like, I would have them, like, all you gotta do is like really go to a museum and like, oh, I spend quality time with my mom, so I don't have to do what she does with other people. Just build a connection, you know? And
Why, Kennedy? I mean, my love, you are just so wise.
no.
That's okay. Okay, so that's the end of my first round of questioning.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, so these questions are going to be around relationships and marriage.
Okay.
Since you have already experienced that, for someone my age, what relationship advice would you give me for marriage or going into a relationship?
Ooh. For someone your age, I would say what relationship advice I would give you. I would tell you to take your time. Honestly, I would really say that because we thought that we needed to be in a relationship when we were coming up. And especially when we were young, it was that desperate need to be in a relationship. And so we didn't have enough time to get to know ourselves. We didn't have enough time to really figure out what it was that we wanted. And so we got into them young. And now a whole lot of us, a lot of people my age are divorced and going into their second marriage and stuff because we didn't take our time to get into a relationship. I'm not saying play the field and all of that. I'm saying at this time right now that you have in your life, don't be afraid to, this is what I would say, don't be afraid to try new things, to date, to figure out what you like, instead of rushing into being booed up. Definitely do not run around sleeping with everybody because it creates too many emotional attachments. We did a lot of that. And so when we got married, when we went into relationships, there were, again, all these emotional attachments that we had to break free from or that went into our relationships with us. So I would say to you and to anyone else your age right now, I know it looks good and you want to be, I want to be with somebody, especially as a mother. I'm ready to have a full family. I would say take your time because it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to rush into a union, a marriage, because marriage is really serious. It's a beautiful thing, but if done in haste, it could be the worst time of your life. So don't be afraid to slow down, take your time, figure out what you like, figure out what you want, figure out what you're willing to deal with, and be okay. Be okay. I'm gonna tell you what God has told me here lately. He was like, take advantage of your singleness. Do not waste your single years. Everything that you need to do in life, you need to do it while you're single. That way, when you connect, you do not have to try to go to school and do this and let me find myself while you're in your marriage, because then you can give your marriage the attention and y'all can grow in your family. And so you're not pulled in all these different ways. So God has told me, do not waste your singleness. I wish I would have had that advice way back when.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So take advantage of your single years. That's what I would say.
Okay, so since you said take advantage of your single years, what do you have like an age range that you would say would be like a great time to get married, or is there an age range?
There is not an age range. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's dependent upon the individual
Okay.
because everybody's different. everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different goals. And so it's dependent upon the individual. So no, I do not think that there is an age range. I know 50-year-old women who are just now for the first time getting married.
Yeah.
I know people who got married at 15 and they're still together. Every age range, it just doesn't matter. What matters is the individuals. And so don't let anybody tell you when you should, when you shouldn't. It's all on you. It's your decision. And yeah, it's totally person by person.
Okay, you ready for the next question?
I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. What qualities do you think are most important for a successful relationship or marriage?
Ooh. Hey. Okay. So communication, you have got to, if you're going to be in a relationship with anybody, you have to be able to communicate and they have to be able to communicate.
Okay, communication.
Communication is essential. And when I say communication, I mean real hard communication, being able to have the real hard conversations that make you cringe sometimes, but they're real and they're honest. Okay, so communication is very key. Another quality that I think is very important, sitting on this side now, is, I don't know if this is a quality or how I would put it, but both of you have got to, you have to know yourself. He has to know him and you have to know you. I'm gonna tell you why that's important and why it ties why it ties to communication, in my opinion. Because if he's not comfortable in himself, when you're trying to have communication, when you're trying to communicate with him about things that are going on with you and where your head is, it becomes all about him, because it's his issues coming out.
Yeah.
So when you know yourself, you're comfortable with yourself, and he knows himself. When y'all communicate, you learn how to. It's not about me. Let me separate my feelings from what it is she's trying to say, and really get in there and hear. Which brings me to the next thing, the ability to listen to understand. A lot of people stop talking so that they can just hear, or so that they're getting ready to just give you my next point because I know this. But when you learn communication and you understand the power of communication, when you hear, you're hearing so that you can understand what it is the other person is trying to say, not what you want them to say, but what it is that they're trying to say, even if they cannot fully articulate what it is that they're trying to say. And I think those three things combined together can make any relationship successful, in my opinion, and based upon my experience. Those are the three main things for me that I found. You lay those foundations, trust, integrity, all of that it really comes with it, because then you really get to know the person and the person really gets to know you, because y'all are in communication and it takes care of everything else. So being able to communicate, knowing yourself, and being able to be present and listen so that you can understand. Getting an understanding, very important. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody knows how to ask questions to get an understanding. Not everybody knows how to listen so that they can really hear and understand, read your body language, know you, and know what you're trying to say, and then articulate it back to you, and keep going until you understand. You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, one more question that I
Okay.
have around the relationship wise.
Okay.
How did your perspective on relationships change after your marriage?
Yeah, I'm turning around because these are some these are some pretty interesting questions. How did my perspective on relationships change after my divorce, you
I'm sorry,
mean?
after your divorce.
If I'm to be honest, it
Mm-hmm.
was a roller coaster.
Okay.
When I first got a divorce, well, when I was married, I've always been a romantic, always been a romantic. When I first got a divorce, I just stopped believing in love.
Oh.
I know. I did. I stopped believing in love, and I stopped believing in marriage for a little bit. I stopped believing in union. One of the things that I always thought about marriage, even though I loved being married, I always saw relationships in marriage as a burden.
Just in
A,
general?
yes, a very heavy burden. I thought that when I was young, I thought that, well, while I was married, I thought that when I first got a divorce, marriage was a heavy burden, and it felt like a prison. I'm just being honest. Not a, I mean, I enjoyed being married, but there was always a weight. That's how I saw marriage. Since then, now that I've healed and I understand more and I know me and I've learned the things that I needed to learn and I've matured in myself and I've matured in God and I've matured in life. Now, marriage is probably one of the most beautiful things that you can do. And I no longer see relationships as burden. One of the reasons why I wasn't in a relationship and I wouldn't get into a relationship for a very long time, I'm like, I don't want the burden of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer, I no longer see it as a burden now. I now see it as a blessing when done proper, when done right, and in the right time and with the right person. That is the main thing that has shifted for me. So now I'm looking forward to getting married again because
Mm-hmm.
now I don't think marriage is a burden.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest I have a lot of them, but that's my biggest relationship shift since divorce.
Okay.
Those are really good questions.
Thank you.
I feel like I talked for a long time.
Hey, I am Liz Gabriel, and I am so excited to have been featured on Next Level Conversations. And I want you to check out this episode and find out how you can avoid getting distracted by attractive, glittery projects and getting you off track from what you're really meant to do, your real purpose. So check it out.
So we're back. We are having Girl Talk. I am joined by Kennedy Fleming for this open forum of Girl Talk where we're just exchanging, we're having a conversation allowing the young women to teach the old and allowing the I ain't gonna call myself old, I'm gonna call myself
Yeah.
wise and seasoned to teach the young. And you're doing so good, Kennedy. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank
You do. You make
you.
me very proud. You make me look good, girl. Okay, my question to you.
Okay.
So you have what was your relationship like with your mom coming up?
Um, okay. My relationship with my mom was I was the second child. Honestly, like, basically I was like the middle child, you can say. Like the middle child always kind of gets like looked over, which I was just having a conversation with my mom and she was saying like as a parent, she couldn't really like focus on two kids at a time, if that makes sense. So
Oh,
all of her focus kind of went towards my older brother, and I was just like, there go the second child, there go Kennedy. So our relationship, to me, in my point of view, it wasn't like we were close, like how you see on TV, mother and daughter, they're like that. I feel like I wasn't like that with my mom until I had my older son, and that was like after I had him, not like kind of like not during the pregnancy. Um, what was the question again?
The
How is the
question-
relationship with my
yeah.
mom? Now it's good. Like I have a good relationship with my mom. I know I can talk to her about everything, about anything. But before, I would say it was kind of like stepping on ice, kind of, or like stepping on eggshells. Because I was like, I wasn't really, I don't want to say acknowledged, because I know that my mom loves me and she loved me then, but it was just like all the focus went to my older brother. So
Do you think that your mom noticed that that you were feeling neglected, or that she was neglecting you as she was doing it? Do you think she noticed that?
No, because we also had another conversation about how my boys are. Like my oldest, he's like my brother. Like he needs all the attention, and he needs like all the attention. And my youngest, he's okay. Like he's like an only child. Like he doesn't need attention. When he needs you, he needs you. But when he don't need you, he's okay. So I think when I was younger, I didn't come off with like, "Mom, I need you, I need you, I need you," like my brother did. So I think she made it. I think she viewed it as, okay, she's okay. She doesn't need me as much as my older brother needed her. So I don't think that she meant to do it. I just think that's how I came off as a child, that I'm okay. I'm independent as a young one, and the focus can go to my older brother who really needs it, which kind of wasn't the best thing for me to do, because at the end of the day, I'm a female and I need my mom attention at the same time. But here I am.
Do you think you pulled back and strided to be more independent because of the stress that you saw your older brother causing on your mom, and all the work that she was putting in with him?
Yes. And at the end of the day, I even caused more stress on her because I had a kid at a young age. So I tried to kind of come off, like step back, because I know that my brother needed the attention that he needed. But at the end of the day, I still caused her the stress that I wasn't expecting to cause her. So half and half.
Let me ask you this. And this, I asked those questions to lead into this question from one of our audience members.
Okay.
So your mom dropped the ball when it came to you, a little bit based upon what we were just talking about. She dropped the ball. Okay, she wasn't perfect. She made a lot of mistakes with you, and things that she could have done better. But hindsight 2020, she did the best that she could based upon what she had. But what can she do now, or what can a mother do now who dropped the ball, and you're not holding animosity towards your mom, but for a child who is holding that animosity towards their parents because they just feel like you neglected me, you didn't show up like I needed you to show up. What is something that a parent can do to help bridge that gap between the mother and the daughter or the child?
I would say start by little by little. Conversations here and there. Like, how are you doing? Let's sit down and have a conversation, talk about your day. And start by a conversation, and then once the conversation builds and you see like a connection is building, start going out. Like out in public. Because like at home you're having a conversation, yeah, that's okay. But once you're at home and you establish that kind of connection, being at home, try to move that connection out in public to see how you're going to act with each other then. So start little by little, talk to each other, build a relationship, have a conversation, and leave the house with that connection and start going up. Little things, yeah, little things.
So what you're saying is, now, like for a parent that was neglectful, what you're saying is you couldn't fix it then, but now you can give that child, you can be intentional about giving that child more attention.
Yeah, always.
More healthy attention to build what wasn't built then.
There's always room to build a relationship or build a connection with somebody. It's because you didn't start when they were younger. That doesn't mean you can't start now. Like what's holding you back now? Like it doesn't. Like I said, it doesn't have to start wounding up. Because sometimes people leave your life and then they come back later, and you act like you can't build a relationship with them, but you can. Like even though that we have like we're growing and we're maturing more,
Mm-hmm.
and we're changing. Sometimes how do I say this? Sometimes when you're younger, your relationship with your parent is different because your maturity is different, or like you're immature at the time. Sometimes relationships grow because you're maturing and you're growing. Sometimes like now, I feel like my relationship with my mom is now better because the person that I am and the person that she is. We both have two different mindsets now than what we had when I was 15, 14, 13 years old. So it all goes by growth, you can say.
Okay. Okay. And can we talk about you as a young teenage mother?
Yeah.
Okay. And you got pregnant at what age?
I got pregnant at 15.
How what was going through your mind during that time period?
Um, Honestly, it was just like, gosh, like I really did this to myself. Like we said this in the car, like you never imagine like this will never happen to me, and it happens. Like it's like I could have like different scenarios came into my head. Like what can I do to do this? What can I do to do that? Like what can I do to make this situation go away? You know, like because my initial decision was to make it go away, but here I am with a 6-year-old, which I love very much. I love that I am a mom, and I feel like that God not put me on this earth to be a mom, but I feel like me having a kid at 15, 16 was one of my callings
Why do you say that?
because honestly, when I was very young, I was a pushover. Like I would let anybody do not anything like bad to me, but I was not very spoken. I was very like to myself. I would keep my emotions in. Just like I let people run over me basically. And after I had my second son, that's when my eyes opened up to really view like how people really are towards me and then towards my boys. So I would say that me having my kids really made me who I am to this, like me who I am now. And I just feel like that was one of my callings to be a mother because it's a different type of love that I receive from my kids, that I receive from my mom and I receive from you. It's just like, it's a love that I can't explain. And I just can't explain. It's like, it's deep. It's like a deep love that I don't ever want to let go.
And we're gonna get to you. I'm gonna get to your questions.
Okay.
I'm just to wrap this up though real quick because you were talking about how people treated you and the things that you've gone through and how you were a pushover. When you've also been in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
And can you kind of tell me a little bit about that? Tell us a little bit about that before I start asking all my questions.
Oh yes. The abuse situation that I was in, it was physical and like mentally abusive. Like I was like a little person. Like I was like my size and all that, but I was belittled. You can say like I was nobody.
Do you think that you stepped into that relationship because of the things that were the neglect that you were feeling from your mom?
Yes. Even though because honestly I was getting hit like almost every day.
What?
No, but like it was.
I'm sorry. Wait.
It was just like yes, like even though that I was being abused, it was a love that was like hurtful, but I was still receiving it, that I wasn't getting from nobody else. So it was like it was hard to let go of, kind of say, even though that it wasn't good for me and it was hurting me and breaking me down, it was so hard for me to actually leave it. And that's what I'm saying. When I had Jace, that's when I realized like I need to stand up and leave. Like this is not good for me. And I realized that after I had Jace, like I need to go. So yeah, that relationship there was very horrible, and I was at my lowest. I would say 15 to 19 when I had Jace, until that's when I really like, yeah, yeah. So that's why I stayed in that relationship so long, because it was a love that
You didn't feel like you were getting, even though you knew that people loved you because I'm your aunt.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're making me feel like we really dropped the ball
No,
really
no,
bad,
no.
girl. But you were looking for something particular. Can you describe what you were looking for? Like to help a mom whose child is in this type of relationship and they can't understand it because they don't know she's looking for something. Can you kind of describe what it was that you were looking for so that the parent, because you were looking for it from your mom, can you kind of, are you able to even articulate that?
I would say attention, you can say, because even though that it was a very hard relationship, I was still getting attention from him. Even though it wasn't good attention, he was still there. Even though like it was bad, I was still getting a good morning text. I was still getting I love you. But even though it was horrible,
He was making you feel like a priority.
yes. But at the same time, I wasn't. Same time, I was just there, being a young mom. So.
Oh, that's it. Wow. Okay, go ahead. Ask your next
Okay,
question.
so my question.
Y'all put some questions in the chat for Kennedy because this is getting good. I know it's so. I'm gonna grab my phone here in just a moment.
Okay,
And,
so my questions are going more towards God because I recently found a really good connection with God. So, how did you develop a good relationship with God?
oh, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
I'm gonna start out pain.
Pain.
Pain. I was in so much pain, and I had no outlet. I had no understanding. I had nowhere to turn. Nothing was making sense. And I knew God from growing up. My mom kept me in church, but I didn't know him. And I was in so much pain, and I was trying to understand, one, the pain, and two, how to get out of the pain. And I looked in a lot of different places. I looked in sex, I looked in movies, I looked in porn, I looked in food, I looked in people. I went everywhere. I mean, when I say everywhere, looking to get out of pain. And then I looked at God. I was like, okay, all of that didn't work, so I got to do something different now. And that made me press more towards him and desire to get to know him for myself. Because I was like, I was like, okay, everything else isn't working. Y'all keep saying God is going to work, but I realized in the middle of that, I was like, I only know him based upon everybody else. I need to get to know him for myself. And so when I started getting to know him for myself, just kind of started talking to him and really started reading the word, and not just reading the word, but really studying the scriptures. I just, step by step, it began to open up, and I became more and more curious and more curious and more curious. And the pain that I was feeling, it started making sense. And I started getting some clarity and some understanding around why this happened and why that happened. And and then I was just kind of like, okay, I understand that now. So, I think I'm gonna let that go. And we just developed a relationship around the very core of communication. When I was talking about, the things that are important in a relationship with another human being, a romantic relationship, it started with God. We started communicating, him communicating with me and me communicating back with him. And that was the start and the development of my relationship with him.
Awesome. Good to know, honestly. Okay. How do you stay connected with God during your challenging times?
Well, every day without fail, all day, Kennedy, I do not ever disconnect from him.
Okay.
Whatever it is that's going on, whatever it is that's in my life, whatever situation it is, I am always communicating or consulting him. So I stay in the word, I stay in praise, and I stay talking. I'm not down on my knees and spending hours on my knees and stuff like that. I am just sitting here. I'll just be sitting here and I'll just be like, okay, God, what we're doing today, or you know how this is going, and you know what the situation is, and I thank you, and different things like that. And he'll talk back. And when I say he'll talk back, I'll hear something in my spirit, okay? Or I'll open up my phone and then boom, there is a text message, or there is a inspirational meme, or somebody's just shown up with an answer, and there's no way that they knew that that's what I was just talking with God about, and they come with this answer, and I'm like, okay, I'm talking to you, you're talking back to me. And so that's how I stay connected. I'm constantly communicating. I don't switch off. I don't switch off. I don't pick it up and put them down. I don't go into a room without him. I take him everywhere I go. I'm constantly all day in communication. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't sit high up in the heavens because I have to be part of the world, but he's here and I'm listening. And so when stuff becomes hard, first thing I'll say, Lord, I thank you. Even though, you know, that's become my first response. And I haven't even processed it. But before I panic, Lord, I thank you. And that tends to calm things down so that I can now, let's go see about this situation. Let's go handle it. So
Okay.
that's what I do.
You actually kind of like made me look at it, not look at it a different way, but I was going to ask you, like, how do you know when he's talking to you? And like you said, you'll feel it in your spirit, or you'll get it from somebody else. And I was just like, okay, like, am I going to always hear it in my spirit? But now, like you said, I'm going to hear it from somebody else. It's not always going to be like he's actually like talking to you into like from your spirit. You're going to have it like when you open your phone or when you talk to somebody else. Like, okay, I see.
And that's one of the things that I love about God, the beauty about him. He is not confined to just one thing, one way.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And he knows me so well. He knows how I hear. He knows how I listen. He knows how I respond. He knows he knows what I like. So he knows where I'm going to be and the things that I'm going to look at and how I'm going to receive something. So he places it there for me because he knows me so intimately and so personally.
Yeah.
And he knows you the same way. And so he communicates with us the way that we hear, not the way that everybody. I don't think he does it in the same way with everybody.
Okay.
And that's the uniqueness and the beauty about God. Hey. I need to grab my phone so that I can also get the questions from the audience. But go ahead. Is that
Let's see. For those questions, yeah, that's it.
that's the end of the questions for that session?
Yes.
Join us for season 3 of Next Level Conversations, where we are having conversations to inspire, uplift, and encourage you on your journey forward. New episodes are available every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the WinWinWomen.tv network. All right. Let's because I want to make sure that our audience is, that we get in our audience questions before we can continue on. Yeah, because I can't see that at all. Okay. Okay, so this is a question. I'm not for sure who this is for, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
How can you work to ensure that 2 males get what they need to grow into successful, productive young men? That's for you, baby, because I ain't got no men. How can you work to ensure that 2 males get what they need to grow into successful, productive young men? That is a great question. As a mom of boys, how do you make sure that they grow into successful young men and get what they need? What's your plan?
I would start off with saying I'm glad that I had my boys at the age group that I had them at, like the gap, because even though they're 2 years, 3 years apart from each other, they're still close. And I was telling one of my patients today that I want my boys to grow up together and have a strong relationship, because I feel like if you have a strong brother or a strong sister, you feed off of their
Yes.
off of their success and accomplishments. And like now when Aiden does something big, Jason's like, I want to do that too. So I just feel like if you have them grow up together and see that they are both, if see that one is winning, another one will want to win as well. So I just,
Okay, but what about the okay, let's start with the oldest because he's leading. How do you as a mom, because there are certain things that men need that and you're not married. There are certain things, but their dad is in their dad is very present in their life,
yes.
and I know that. But how do you as a mom identify, or do you keep in the front of your mind the things that they need as men, and understanding I cannot do this, I can't give them those things, but I need to make sure, I need to find somebody who can, or make sure that they get all the sauces, the seasoning that they need to become. Have you identified those types of things, and and how are you going about adding those?
Um,
Am I hitting the question? Am I hitting the question that was asked? Am I hitting it good?
I don't know how to answer that. Kind of. I would say family, because each person in our family has a different role. They have
Okay.
all different what's the word, accomplishments that my boys can feed off of. Like with you, you have this show. Like with me, I'm in the medical field that no one else in our family is in the medical field. My mom, she has her own business just as Aunt Kizzy, and Aunt Nicole has a degree. So they can each feed off of something and take that knowledge that we each give them to be successful in life. Is that kind of the question?
Yeah, I think, and it's a way you're using your community is what you're
Yes,
saying.
yes, yes.
You have placed them in a community and an environment that is what I think you're saying.
Yes.
A community and an environment that, to the best of your ability, will help them get what they need. And you have to let God lead. I know we've had this conversation before, that that God has given them to you, and as a mother, it's your job to care for them, but they are God's, and so you have to go to God. This is what I believe. You have to go to God about what it is that you need to do for them, so that you could be a good steward over the gifts that He is giving you. How, and knowing that, and we've discussed this, and we've discussed this often, knowing that, and how have you shifted in motherhood mentally from when your boys first got here to now, especially with your relationship with God? How has your role as mother and shifted as far as the way that you're raising them?
It has shifted as I'm listening to my boys. Like, I not that I take a moment to actually talk to them and sit with them, but when there's something's wrong, I'm open ears. When it's something that they really need, like I want my boys to feel like they can talk to me about anything, and just like how it is with God. Not saying that I am God or something like that, but I want them to feel like they can come to me as much as they can come to God, so that they can feel comfortable. And like I do incorporate God with the boys now, not as much as I need to, but before we go to bed, we're making sure that we sit down and we talk to God. And it's that same little prayer, now I lay down to sleep down.
Hey, you have to start somewhere.
Yes.
And that really is, so one of our, we have a question here. What skills will you pour into them for their development?
Honestly, whatever they lean towards to, I'm gonna keep feeling that. I'm gonna keep feeling it as like whatever they want to do, as to say. I'm gonna lean towards that. I don't know. I'm still learning as a mother. But I just want them to, I don't want them to be like, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. I want them to find what they truly want to do. And
Okay.
if it's like right now, my son really wants to be a soccer player. If you want to do that,
Yes.
then we're gonna find you a good soccer team. We're gonna, first of all, we're gonna put you through college, so you can so you can develop soccer in the full world of college, and then maybe potentially move on to the end. What is it called? The soccer's actual thing, something like that.
They
Yeah,
got it football, and some,
football,
I don't know.
FC, something like that.
I
Yeah.
have no clue. I have no clue whatsoever.
Either I don't know if I answered that question good or not, because
I think you did. I think that's good. What has been the hardest thing for you being a mother?
the hardest thing is I would say still learning myself, because even though I had my son very young, I was still learning myself, and like I've now fully just learned myself. Like I've finally learned what I love to do. It's like the hardest thing that was for me is I had to put my feelings, my emotions to the side. And now I'm at that age in life where I can finally put my emotions, because now my boys are a lot older. I can think about myself a lot more, because they're more independent
Yeah,
than
definitely.
what they were at 9 months and 10 months. So I would say the hardest thing is finding myself as who I am now. But I'm finding it.
And
Yay!
isn't it an enjoyable discovery?
It is. Like now that I have my weekends to my weekends to myself, it's like I go out and I see the world from my point of view, and not being like,
Oh.
okay, boys, let's go. Come on. I'm by myself. I'm in my, not in my head, but I can finally just like see like this is how it is when it's just me. And I love when it is just me. Like I love being with my boys, but when it's like my weekend, it's just like I get to discover more things about myself that I truly love.
Oh, good, good. Okay,
Yes.
we got a few more minutes, so let me hear a few more of your questions.
Okay, I'm gonna go more to the lifestyle of everything.
Okay.
Okay, what is one piece of advice that you hope that you will never forget? What is one piece of advice that you hope you never forget? Yeah.
Oh, Kennedy, that is such a good question. What is one piece of advice that I hope that I never can it be advice, or can it just be wisdom, something that I've learned?
Something
Or
that you have learned.
something that I've learned. The one thing that I hope I never, ever, ever forget again is that I am valuable and I matter.
I love that.
I hope I never forget that again, because I forgot that for a long time. And that's one thing that I pray. I ask God always, just let me remember to remind myself, constantly remind myself, it matters, Shawnte, your voice matters, what you think matters, who you are matter, and you are valuable. You are a real treasure. So that was
Man.
good.
Thank you. Okay. Next question is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Yay! I want to be remembered as a person who was fearless, who wasn't afraid to try and fail, and a person who inspired others. That's my goal. That's my goal in life, to inspire others to action by taking action,
Okay.
not just saying it, trying to get them to. I want them to see my life. I want them to see the things that I did, the easy things and the hard things, and constantly see me moving, and them be inspired to say, you know what, do it too. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how to do it, but she didn't know, but she learned how to do it, and she was always taking action, and that inspires me. So yeah, that's the one. I really want to. I don't like answering questions like that, because part of your brain be like, Lord, am I about to go? I'm gonna be around for a long time, but yeah, that's my goal. That's my desire in life, to be a person. When people talk about me, she was always moving. She was always taking action. She inspired me because of her action.
Okay. Aw. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Oh Lord. Okay.
This
yeah.
one's kind of simple. Okay.
Okay.
How has your family shaped you to who you are today?
Oh, They have kept me humble.
Okay.
They keep me humble. They
It's
keep
just like
me
you saying like your
honest.
sisters or your mother,
The whole family.
the whole family.
The whole family, all of my friends. They keep me humble. They keep me honest. They keep me accountable, which I'm grateful for that, because the one thing that I've always said that I didn't want to be was a hypocrite. And my people they'll call you out.
Quickly.
They will call you out. And so I have to do what it is that I say I'm going to do, not for them, but because I don't want to be, I like who I have become because of them. They keep me honest and they keep me humble. I don't care how high you get.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna knock you down, but they gon' hey, your head too big.
Right.
You're thinking too much of yourself and different things like that, and not in a negative way. But that's how my mom raised us. Don't ever think that you're better than anybody, or that you're so high and you're so mighty, because you can come low. My family keep us humble, and they keep us accountable, and I appreciate them for that.
Okay. What was one mistake that you learned the most from?
When I was young, I stole $1 out of my mama's purse. That was the worst mistake I ever made. And my mama, she stripped me. She sat on me.
Oh.
She did. And she whooped me good. And she said, I am not raising a thief. And I learned from that. I learned from that. A lot of people, and don't get me wrong, that was harsh at the time, but it lasted. It made an impact. It made an impact. So yeah, that one right there. That one right there. Kennedy.
Ma'am.
It is almost 8:00. I want to thank you, honey.
Oh,
I
thank you.
have enjoyed this so much. Have y'all enjoyed this conversation? I think I got all of our questions. Hopefully I didn't miss any. But have y'all enjoyed this conversation? This has been so good.
Yeah.
This has been so good. I already knew that you were awesome and intelligent and full of wisdom, but oh my God, the way you have just been impressing me here right now, this conversation, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I thank you for coming onto the show. I thank you for being open and honest. And I know a lot of it wasn't easy. I appreciate you. And I know that our audience appreciates you for being vulnerable and open with us. I thank you. I thank you.
Thank you for having me. Oh my God.
Are you going to come back?
Yes, I will.
Well, good. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's conversation, Girl Talk. We are here in our stories, the things that we've been through. It matters because it helps one another. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us on this evening. I want to let you know that I love you, that I appreciate you. It'll be great.